Let's see. Unmute. Hello there.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Yes. It's
I
great
couldn't
to
get the volume up, but I got it.
Oh, good, good. Yes, I see we've got a few students in here. Becky. Do you say your name Erica?
Erica? Erica
Yeah.
Spala?
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Hello. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to Platinum Steno. We're so excited to have you, and welcome everyone that decided to watch the recorded class at a later time. My name is Jill Bremond, and I teach the live classes. So it's exciting to see some new faces. And so I know this week Robert was offering some free live classes. So I just want to kind of go over like typically what we do, just so you kind of have an idea. We usually start with drills, and then we move into literary and jury charge, and then we go into Q&A. And I usually, with the Q&A, I'll start one time at 60, again at 80, again at 100. I do that with one of the selections of Q&A, and then the rest of the Q&A that we'll do, I'll start at 60 and work my way to 100. So that's typically, you know, how the lower speeds classes, we focus on 60, 80, 100. And if you have any questions after class, I usually mute everybody. So that way, if students come in and out, it doesn't, you know, distract anyone. And then after class, I will unmute everyone and answer any questions that anyone has. And just so you know, we have a live class tomorrow morning at 9, which is lower speeds. And then tomorrow evening from 5 to 6, we've got the mid speeds, which is 120, 140, 160. As well as that's tomorrow night. And then Wednesday morning will be the mid speed. Let me go ahead and mute you guys. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Okay, so then Wednesday evening from 5 to 6 would be the high speeds, which would be 180, 200, 225. And then Friday morning is from 9 to 10 is again high speeds, 180, 200, 225. So that's kind of our schedule. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us. And what I'll typically do then is just go ahead and mute everyone. And hi, Nora. And after class, then I'll unmute everyone so I can answer any questions. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to start off with frequently used words. I kind of like to do that just to kind of get our fingers going. All right, here we go. Ready? They, be, at, this, from, I, have, or, by, one, had, not, but, what, all, were, when, we, long, little, very, words, after, called, just, where, most, no, get, through, back, before, much, go, good, new, home, big, give. All right. Moving into our next drill. Excuse me. This is going to focus on frequently used phrases. So you're going to phrase as much as possible. Okay, here we go. Yes, sir, of the, in the, no, sir, did you, on the, to the, I did, that is, I was, you were, when you, from the, he was, at that time, and the, I am, you say, were you, how long, that was it, there was, what did, that you, at all, I don't know, which is YON, I do, at the, to you, with the, at the time, it is, you did, is that right, didn't you, how many, what was, how far, which is HOUF, in this, did you see, do you know, that they were, I have, you had, in a, was there, to see, I didn't, for the, where was, and you, at any, having to. All right, there's more, but I am going to stop there. We'll finish those on another day, probably in the next class. All right. My next drill focuses on automobile accident words. Okay, so I'm going to give you some of the ones that I know briefs for. Okay, stoplight, STOLT. Police station, PLIGS. Street light, STR, final LT. Driver's license, initial D, final L. Accident is just final X. Driveway, DROI, DROI. Seatbelt, S, belt. Police car, PLAR. Boulevard, BLFD. Passenger side, there's two ways you could do that, either PAEZ or PAEDZ. Either one works. Boulevard, BLFD, I think I gave that. Northbound, NB. Do all the north, south, east, and westbounds just as the first letter and then final B, kind of keeps it consistent. Left-hand lane, I write that as LND. Left-hand side, I write that as LNDZ. Right-hand lane, RND. Again, right-hand side, RNDZ. Scene of the accident is SNEX, next. Driver's side, you can either do DROZ or DR final Z. Traffic, TRAFK. Vehicles, VEEK, V long EK. Crosswalk, CROC. Intersection is NERX, NERX. Sidewalk is SWAC. Motorcycle is MOIK, MOIK. Signal light, SNAL is signal. Then I just come back for lights. Hospital, HOPT. Officer, initial S, final F'er. Passenger, PAEJ. Ambulance is BLANS, Blance. And I'm going to stop there. There is more, but we'll go over the rest in the next class. Okay, so now here are your words. Okay, engine, bumpers, driveway, driver's license, accident, street light, brakes, dashboard, turn, slow, horn, fenders, wheel, police station, paved shoulder, center divider, stoplight, steering wheel, rear end, passenger's side, police car, carburetor, boulevard, seatbelt, impact occurred, right side, left side, traveling, front end, northbound, tracks, siren, fast, green, left-hand lane, right-hand lane, traffic collision, California Highway Patrol, scene of the accident, SNCS, driver's side, safety harness, middle, lane, avenue, traffic, yellow, red, barrier, vehicle, motor vehicle, crosswalk, gasoline tank, intersection, flashing lights, motorcycle, witnesses, sidewalk, moment of impact, driver, center, change lanes, curb, driving, railroad crossing, lane change, crossing, berm, conditions, stop sign, which is Stein, S-T long I-N, signal lights, police officer, pedal, hospital, bots dots, left turn pocket, passenger, injuries, ambulance. And again, there are more, but I will finish those in our next class. I don't want it to be too overwhelming. All right, let's go over some sentences that end with the itty. Okay, so you're going to use your final T for itty. And if you have to come back for it, you're going to use your IT so it doesn't look like the. Okay, here we go. Ready? Her sanity was questioned. Brevity is the soul of wit. So brevity, I would write in 2 strokes, because if you have your fingers on B-R-E-V, it's too hard to get way over here to the T. So I would just come back for IT for brevity. We live in a nice community. This is a world of reality. They will report on their feasibility study. She receives an annuity. The continuity was interrupted. Her ability is amazing. The house was built with durability. Your quality is apparent. We believe in equality. He overcame his disability. A guard dog was used for security. In unity, there is strength. They think they have impunity. The bank showed its stability. The nobility in Europe is scattered. Our accountability can be verified. Your handwriting would not pass a legibility test. He is a liability in the office. All right. I have a short, brief review, and let's see here. It's going to focus on envelope, which I write as NFL, notice, initial N, final TS, minimum, success, succeed. All right, here are your sentences. The minimum number of envelopes is 8. Did you take notice of his success? Did you succeed in getting the minimum number of notices in the envelope, I noticed that his successful entry had the minimum number of words. I notice that she is enjoying many successes. We succeeded in our marketing plan because we used bright red envelopes. All right, let's do some names and addresses. Here we go. Ready? Mr. Jack L. Thomas, Thomas, 461 Violet Avenue, Hyde Park, New York, 12538. Mr. A. Wayne Thompson III, Thompson, Rutledge College, 1700 Laurel Street, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Ms. Michelle R. Smith, Smith, 12831 West Greenfield, Grand Lodge, Michigan, 48037. Mrs. Myra A. Trachenberg, Trachenberg, Newton North High School, 360 Lowell Avenue, Newtonville, Massachusetts, 02160. Mr. Douglas P. Ames, AMES, 100 Park Lane Circle, Lockport, New York, 14094. Ms. Keisha C. Jones, JONES, 3520 Sterling Avenue, Flint, Michigan, 48504. Judy Allen, ALLEN, P.O. Box 6308, Gary, Indiana, 46406. Mrs. Janice L. Dumford, DUMFORD, 4342 Glen Estates, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45245. Ms. Connie B. Lascano, LASCANO, 8000 West 7th Street, Unit 5, number 2247, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 71603. All right. Moving into our next drill, I have a short number drill. Okay, it's numbers in context. It's a fun little one. All right, here we go. They had 14 rows of corn, 17 of beans, 31 lettuce, 25 peas, 13 squash, 22 melons, 16 grapes, 24 peppers, 30 carrots, 18 cabbages, 21 onions, 19 strawberries, 26 celery, and 28 yams. All right, how are we doing on time? Okay, good. We've got time for 2 more drills. All right, I'm going to give you some tangle tamers. Some of these are a little tricky, but they're great because it kind of forces you to write these words out. We don't usually have briefs for these. All right, here we go. Ambush, slaying, inherited stock, former mistress, subsequent return, final approval, disability incurred, improvident agreement, immaterial change, attempt deception, homicide involved, resisting arrest, sexual act, fiscal year, council decision, popular belief, final approval, first spouse, cause existing, marital relations, principal relied, limited edition, divorce proceedings, many instances, parties intention, marital status, public relations, insurance broker, annulment decree, undenied right, police dispatch, facts offered, accident scene, speech slurred, undeniably true. All right. Now we're going to go right into some literary. Okay. And this is going to be a narrative answer. So because it's about a paragraph long, I am going to read it once at 60, one at 80, and one at 100. Okay. All right. Let me give you a short word list. You're going to hear possible, P-O-B-L, department, wage rates, outside, which is O-Z, unions, consistent, inclusive. And some of the phrases you will hear are going to be had a, we were, of the, they were, to the, in the, could not, from the, by the, it was. And here is your paragraph. We had a problem with our rate sheets. They could not cover all the possible jobs. We tried to make them inclusive, but we just could not do it. No one could have done it. We were told what wages to offer for each of the kinds of jobs that we had listed. We tried to think of every possible job where we might have to hire people over the course of a whole year. We were told that our department was to call the bosses and inform them if there were any big changes in the wage rates over the course of a year. Our problem was getting bigger. It was in regard to the ship. We had to hire some men from the outside to do the painting. That meant the wages we had to pay were already set by the unions, but they were not consistent with the other rates. It was all a big mess. All right, I'll read that again at 80. Okay, here we go. We had a problem with our rate sheets. They could not cover all the possible jobs. We tried to make them inclusive, but we just could not do it. No one could have done it. We were told what wages to offer for each of the kinds of jobs that we had listed. We tried to think of every possible job where we might have to hire people over the course of a whole year. We were told that our department was to call the bosses and inform them if there were any big changes in the wage rates over the course of a year. Our real problem was in regard to the ship. We had to hire some men from the outside to do the painting. That meant the wages we had to pay were already set by the unions, but they were not consistent with the other rates. It was all a big mess. All right, so last time we'll be at 100. Okay, here we go. We had a problem with our rate sheets. They could not cover all the possible jobs. We tried to make them inclusive, but we just could not do it. No one could have done it. We were told what wages to offer for each of the kinds of jobs that we had listed. We tried to think of every possible job where we might have to hire people over the course of a whole year. We were told that our department was to call the bosses and inform them if there were any big changes in the wage rates over the course of a year. Our real problem was in regard to the ship. We had to hire some men from the outside to do the painting. That meant the wages we had to pay were already set by the unions, but they were not consistent with the other rates. It was all a big mess. All right. I've got an article here on what do bees do in the winter. So I'm going to start this at 60 and I'm going to work my way up to 100. Okay. All right. And then at the end, we've got some fun facts about bees. Here we go. Have you ever wondered, what do bees do in the winter? How much honey must bees store to last an entire winter? How many flowers do bees have to visit in order to make 1 pound of honey? When winter rolls around, bears hibernate and birds fly south. But what about the bees? Like every other creature on Earth, bees have their own unique ways of coping with cold temperatures during the winter season. One way bees prepare for the winter is by gathering a winter reserve of honey. Honeybees head to the hive when temperatures drop into the 50s. As the weather becomes cool, the honeybees gather in a central area of the hive and form a winter cluster. A winter cluster is much like a huddle you may have seen at a football game, except it lasts all winter. Bees have one main job in the winter: to take care of the queen bee. This means they must keep her safe and warm. In order to do so, worker bees surround the queen and form a cluster with their bodies. The worker bees then flutter their wings and shiver. This constant motion and continuous use of energy is how the bees keep the inside temperature of the hive warm. In order to keep shivering, the bees must have enough honey. This is how they get their energy. One of the most important jobs of the beekeeper in the winter is to make sure the honey supply stays full so the bees can keep shivering. Though the queen is always at the center of the cluster, worker bees rotate from the outside to the inside of the cluster, so no individual worker bee gets too cold. The temperature of the cluster ranges from 46 degrees at the exterior to 80 degrees at the interior. The colder the weather is outside, the more compact the cluster becomes. In order to produce body heat and stay alive, honeybees must rely on honey for energy. Some studies have found that hives of honeybees will consume up to 30 pounds of stored honey over the course of a single winter. On warmer days, bees will leave the cluster briefly in order to eliminate body waste outside the hive. And here are a few fun facts about bees. Honeybees are the only insect that produces food eaten by humans. Worker honeybees are all female. The average worker bee produces only 1/12 teaspoon of honey over her lifetime. A worker bee lives about 6 weeks. The queen bee can live to be 5 years old. Honey never spoils. To make 1 pound of honey, bees must visit 2 million flowers. Pretty amazing, huh? All right, let's move into jury charge. All right, so this is going to be some jury charge. I'm going to give you a word list. You're going to hear Ray, Mr. Salazar, Mr. Hugo, DNA. And then as far as the word list goes, and your briefs and phrases, you're going to hear credibility, Your Honor, which is YURN, witness, WNS, motion, opportunity, TUNT, bizarre, experience, SP long ERNS, testimony, initial T, final M, amazement, naive, trier, physical evidence, confession, tantamount, DNA evidence, corroborate, prosecution, that's initial PR, final GS, victim, gas station, in order, NORD, cameras, funeral, gathering, anniversary. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started now with this. I'm going to start at 60 and I will work my way to 100, okay? All right, here we go. Ready? That case, Your Honor, as I know the court is aware, did address the issue of credibility of witnesses. And that case is different from this case in that it appears that the witnesses in that case were going out of their way to tell the truth. They weren't trying to do anything other than help by saying what they knew. And there was some talk that they might very well be mistaken. Then there was a fingerprint, and I didn't give you guys that one, I'm sorry. It's initial F, final P. So let me say that again. Then there was a fingerprint from an unknown person, and the court, after consideration, and I am mindful that most of that case actually dealt with jury selection and some issues. But I think of the motions as not being designed to test the credibility of witnesses. And I have viewed that as a jury duty. But I would submit to the court at some point, witnesses can be so bad that they are not worthy of belief. And I don't believe that's the people's fault. It is the witnesses' fault. This court has had the opportunity to see Mr. Ray and Mr. Salazar, and I know you don't need reminding on some of the things that have happened in this trial. Perhaps the court has seen more bizarre testimony. In my experience, I haven't. I haven't seen people lie to a jury, get caught, lie again, admit that they hurt themselves in grand jury, admit that they hurt themselves at the trial. And it has just been an amazement. Maybe I am naive. Maybe I haven't done enough trials in the 30 years I have been practicing. I have done hundreds, but if a reasonable trier of fact can base the case on their testimony, then I should lose this motion. The problem is having to do so with my client. There is no physical evidence once his confession is suppressed. And I am mindful that the court did suppress a statement that, to all intents and purposes, is tantamount to a confession. But if we look at the evidence that this jury has been permitted to hear, there is no physical evidence to corroborate the statements of Mr. Ray and Mr. Salazar. There are no letters that my client wrote or that my client is mentioned in. There is no DNA evidence where my client has bloody clothes or things of that nature. I am mindful that the prosecution could say, well, Ray and Salazar have answered that by saying that those clothes were disposed of. There is no fingerprint of my client in the car. And we all know that you can be in a motor vehicle and not leave fingerprints. But when we go through all the evidence, in order for the jury to convict my client, they have to rely on the testimony of Mr. Ray and Mr. Salazar. The prosecution, I am sure, will point to the how did they know certain things, such as how did they know that the victim had been stabbed in the head? How did they know whether there were cameras at the gas station? Things of this nature. But when we look at everything that's been presented, it certainly seems that the testimony of Mr. Ray and Mr. Salazar is not worthy of belief to the trier of fact. I would like to make a motion based upon the lack of evidence and the standard, of course, being the evidence of what we are talking about here. As to Mr. Hugo, the only evidence against him is the fact that he may have been in the car when the car returned to the house. There is nothing in the email about him. Nobody ever talks about him. He may have been at the funeral, not the funeral, but the evening gathering or the mass on the 1-year anniversary. He may have been. All right, so I worked my way up to 100. I'm just dating this so I know that we read it. Let's move right into Q&A. So some of you may not be familiar with the light board. Just in case you're not, I'll go ahead and kind of give you a little rundown. So obviously we have plaintiff, witness, defense, and the court. So, you're going to sign them in and if you're not used to that, if you want to just focus on the words, you can, and then, you can work on this later. But whenever the the attorney is questioning, you're going to want to just strike these keys here, STK, PWHR, all of those. That's for a question. And the answer, when the answer comes in, that's going to be your FR, PB, LGTS, all of those at the same time. If the court comes in, you're going to identify him as STPH, AOEU, all of those. And then we call plaintiff SNU, STPHAO. So if he's speaking to the court or the other attorney, that's colloquy, so you could just hit SNU. And then defense is IFPELT, IFPLT. And again, if he's speaking to the other attorney or the court, you can identify him as the attorney. And then otherwise, if it's just Q&A, it would just be, here's your question bank, here's your answer bank. Okay, so you might have a different way that you do that if you, attended a different school, and that's okay. So we'll get started. I'm going to read this at 60. It's a one-page Q&A. It's strictly defense questioning. So all you have to do is worry about your question bank and then your answer bank if you want to try to do that. Okay, so let me give you a short word list. You're going to hear wallet, discussion, which is SKUGS, bail bondsman, survivor, particular, evening. Okay, oh, you're also going to hear courtroom, which is KRAOM. All right, here we go. First time at 60. Ready? Is that a man that's seated here in the courtroom now? Yes. How long did those 3 men remain there at your home? Well, the exact time I really couldn't say, but whatever time that Survivor was off the TV is when they left. Was it during the evening? Yes. Before midnight? Yes. Did the three men leave together? Yes. Before they left, was there any discussion or talk about any particular thing that evening? Yes. They were supposed to go and see a bail bondsman to get my oldest son out of jail on bail. Is that the reason that they left, as far as you could tell? Yes. Now, did your husband have a wallet that evening? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket that you could see? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket in the presence or in the place where Mr. Thomas was at that time? Yes. Was that in your home? Yes. And for what purpose did your husband take his wallet out of his pocket in front of Mr. Thomas? Looking for his bail bondsman's card. Was there money in the wallet? Yes. Was that visible? Yes. Okay, so we'll do it again at 80. Okay. Here we go. Is that a man that's seated here in the courtroom now? Yes. How long did those three men remain there at your home? Well, the exact time I really couldn't say, but whatever time that Survivor was off the TV is when they left. Was it during the evening? Yes. Before midnight? Yes. Did the three men leave together? Yes. Before they left, was there any discussion or talk going on about any particular thing that evening? Yes. They were supposed to go and see a bail bondsman to get my oldest son out of jail on bail. Is that the reason that they left, as far as you could tell? Yes. Now, did your husband have a wallet that evening? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket that you could see? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket in the presence or in the place where Mr. Thomas was at that time? Yes. Was that in your home? Yes. And for what purpose did your husband take his wallet out of his pocket in front of Mr. Thomas, looking for his bail bondsman's card? Was there money in the wallet? Yes. Was that visible? Yes. All right, so we'll do it again at 100, last time, and then we're going to move on to a different Q&A. How are we doing? We're running out of time. Okay, so I know we have time to do it one more time at 100, okay? Here we go. Ready? Is that a man that's seated here in the courtroom now? Yes. How long did those 3 men remain there at your home? Well, the exact time I really couldn't say, but whatever time that survivor was off the TV is when they left. Was it during the evening? Yes. Before midnight? Yes. Did the 3 men leave together? Yes. Before they left, was there any discussion or talk going on about anything particular that evening? Yes. They were supposed to go and see a bail bondsman to get my oldest son out of jail on bail. Is that the reason that they left, as far as you could tell? Yes. Now, did your husband have a wallet that evening? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket that you could see? Yes. Did he take his wallet out of his pocket in the presence or in the place where Mr. Thomas was at that time? Yes. Was that in your home? Yes. And for what purpose did your husband take his wallet out of his pocket in front of Mr. Thomas, looking for his bail bondsman's card? Was there money in the wallet? Yes. Was that visible? Yes. All right, so I know we're almost at 6 o'clock. I'm going to just read you one more Q&A, okay? This is only a couple pages long. So what I'm going to do with this one is just read it, start at 60, and I'm going to work my way to 100, okay? All right. Here we go. Was any surgery performed upon you? No, they didn't even sew up the cuts. After your hospitalization, did you return home? No, I was transferred to St. Thomas, which was closer to home. How long were you at St. Thomas? Around a week. I don't recollect just exactly. What doctors treated you while you were at St. Thomas? Dr. Needham, Needham. Does he have a particular type of specialty? Yes. Neurosurgery. Was surgery performed on you at St. Thomas? No, I had a lot of tests. After your stay at St. Thomas, did you return home? Yes. How long of a period of convalescence did you spend at home? I was at home with a tutor for the first semester of my senior year of high school and until March or April of the next year. When did you return to school on a normal basis? April, but I can't remember the day. Were you bedridden during the entirety of this period? No. At what point were you no longer bedridden? As soon as I got home, I was in the house most of the time, but not bedridden. What was the reason then that you didn't attend school regularly? Loss of memory. I had a lot of catching up to do, I guess. When did you commence tutoring or commence being tutored? About a week or two after I got home. Were you able to graduate with your class in June? I didn't go through the ceremonies with the class, but I finished school that year. Prior to the accident, had you ever been hospitalized? I had my tonsils out, nothing major. When did you have your tonsils out? How old were you approximately? About 6. Were you ever in the hospital on any other occasion? When I was real young, about 3 or 4, I had a bladder infection and I was in for a couple of days because it affected my kidneys. Prior to the accident, had you ever been under the treatment of a doctor other than for the average cold, flu, or such an illness as this? I don't remember. My mom might know. Let's focus on your years in high school. Do you recall any lengthy absence from school due to illness? Not a long time, no. How about during middle school? No. During elementary? Just tonsils. How would you describe your health today? Fairly good. I still have headaches sometimes. Do you believe that those headaches are related to the accident? I can't say, but I didn't have them before as much. Everybody has headaches once in a while. When did you first start to experience headaches? As soon as I can remember waking up after the accident. I mean, real bad ones. Has anyone ever told you the cause of these headaches? They have told me it could have been from the accident. Who have those individuals been? Dr. Needham. How often do you experience these headaches? About a couple of times a week. What is their duration? Well, until I take something for it, take some 800 strength Tylenol or something. Are you presently under medication from a doctor for this condition? Yes, he gave that to me. So the only health condition that you have today would be your headaches. Is that correct? I believe so. My lungs are still a little bit, I don't know. I was told they were injured or damaged. Do they give you any pain? Some when I get very tired or exercise a lot. So I worked my way up to 100. Okay. I didn't spend too much time at the 60 speed. I pretty much after about 5 or 6 questions, I moved into 80. And then at the very end, well, not even the very end, I would say the second half, I went into 100. So let me unmute you guys. So do you guys have any questions? Was there any words that maybe you wanted to ask about? Any briefs that maybe you had a question about? No?
I didn't have any.
Okay. Hi, Nora.
Hi. Oh, were your dogs barking earlier?
Well, yes. Okay, so I live, behind me is a green belt, and for some reason the coyotes today have been going crazy. So it makes my dogs bark because they can hear them howling out there. I don't know what is going on, but they only do that usually when they catch something. So I purposely put my dogs, and my dogs don't ever bark. So that's how bad it is today. I don't know. I keep thinking, well, it's not a full moon, so I don't know. But yeah, I could hear the coyotes yiping when I was reading. I thought, oh no, my dogs are going to start barking because those coyotes, they all yipe at the same time, and it's just this eerie like yak, 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 and they all get going, and so then all the dogs start barking. Anyways, well, if you guys don't have any questions, I encourage you to attend tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning's class is from 9 to 10, and that will cover 60, 80, 100. And then tomorrow evening from 5 to 6 will be the mid speeds, which will be 120, 140, 160. And then again, Wednesday morning, we'll have mid speeds from 9 to 10, which is 120, 140, 160. And then Wednesday evening will be high speeds, 180, 200, 225, as well as Friday morning from 9 to 10, high speeds again. So even if you guys are kind of in the middle, I really encourage you to push as well as going back and trailing. So it's good to do both. Trailing, you're cleaning up your notes, and pushing, you're kind of pushing yourself so that your speed seems a little bit a little easier. So does anybody have any questions about like the light board? Does everybody understand that? Okay, if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, yeah, pretty much today was just pretty much Q&A, but I know the court came in at one time. So then of course you would just sign them in as the SNU and IFPELT, STPH, AOEU, FPLT all at once for the court. And then of course you've got your question and your answer bank. So if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to email us, and hopefully I'll get to see you tomorrow morning. And if not, I encourage you to watch the recorded class. All right. Thank you guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye. See you later.